Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! Hello, everybody. It's another edition of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out. I'm Blade Daly, joined as always by my co-host, the one and only, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, the greatest Canadian pro wrestling podcaster in the history of Canadian pro wrestling podcasts, Joshi G. Joshi, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's actually going pretty good. It's going pretty good. Yeah. Because it's going extra good because we're also joined by the guy who does the previews and predictions with us each and every time. The one and only Antoine Raphael. Antoine, how you doing, friend?
I'm doing great, except for the dying heat out there, and even better when you say the Raphael like that.
I gave you the proper tongue roll. It is AEW Double or Nothing weekend, and this show went from being kind of like a whatever show, feeling almost like a two-match show, to feeling like, wow, they did a really good build for this on Dynamite this week. Like, closing a lot of loops. I thought they, made the matches feel a lot more important, and they added quite a bit to the show. So I feel like they did a lot of groundwork this week to really make it feel bigger. Fam, I'm just so happy we're together. Happy to be doing this with y'all, and excited.
Yeah, excited for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, very excited. So this is our preview and predictions. I'm going to just say to you all right now, I really don't know where any of this... I don't feel confident in any of my predictions. I was looking at the card, and I'm like, every single match almost could go either way.
It's nice to know that I'm not the only one who feels that way. To go with that, it almost snuck up on me. I don't know how a pay-per-view can sneak up on you, but the pay-per-view almost snuck up on me. And it was just such a fast ramp up to it. And I think that's the kind of show that I like. You never know. Who knows what?
Well, the critique of AEW that a lot of people had, even last year, was that they were kind of predictable. And, you would get into these discussions about predictable doesn't mean bad. It's like, and that's true. It doesn't. But now AEW is like, I have no idea where a lot of these matches are going to go. And that's a fun feeling. It's really cool. Tony Khan is very tight-lipped about what gets out and where things are going. What about you, Joshi? How are you feeling about it?
I think it's a really unpredictable card this year. I'm having a hard time deciding who the winners will be for a few matches, actually. So I will give them that. They really decided to make it unpredictable. And since that's been a criticism of AEW's pay-per-view, it's good to know that they're listening and making some changes. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's been done well, too. It's not unpredictable just for the sake of it. It's marquee matches that you kind of want either person to win, like in the case of Jamie and Mercedes, like that. I want both of them to win, but they can't, obviously. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how they get there. We're going to kick the show off on the 0 hour. They announced one match, which is Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's fun. We don't get enough women's tag matches. Tony Khan did confirm on a media call the other day that he is interested in a women's tag division and he wants to make that happen, I think that would rule and really, really help out the women's situation, get more women on the show. What do you all think of this match and the women's tag division?
Well, for this match, Megan and Ford have been feuding with Anna Jay and Harley Cameron, so it makes sense that they're finally getting a tag team match. As for the winners of this match, since Anna and Harley have both lost to Megan Bayne, I think Anna Jay and Harley will probably win, and maybe we'll get some kind of return or something like that. Someone to beat up Megan and Penelope Ford, maybe. And as for tag team title matches, for sure, I would love that. The only thing is that the woman would definitely need more time on Dynamite and Collision. So hopefully, if they do introduce those tag titles, they will give the woman more time than they're getting now, or else I don't know how that would be feasible.
Right. No, I think you're 100% correct. I think that if they don't get more time, then don't even do this. But, we have talked forever about wanting to see more multi-women matches, because that's a way to get more people on TV and a way to give people more time without giving them 50% of the show, because that just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But like, if we could get it to 70-30 this year, that would be a huge step up. Antoine, what do you think?
I think this is the type of match where if Tony wants to really show and back up the comments that he made about the fact that he's interested in the tag team titles for the ladies, that he has to take seriously, and it has to start right now. So this can't, to me, I'm looking forward to a match that has comedy, because it has Harley Cameron, who is just fantastic at it, but that it's not a comedic match. I have had a little bit of trepidation when it comes to how Megan Bayne is not necessarily booked, but how she is presented. It struck me a few days ago about how she reminds me kind of in the physicality of Goldberg. And it's definitely apparent she has definitely slimmed down and been in the weight room. So she is jacked and ready to go. Yeah. And I love the pairing with Penelope Ford, someone who I admire and I have liked since Jump Street and Original. But I'm with Joshi. I think the play here is for Harley Cameron and Anna Jay to get the win, especially because Anna Jay just had that match, and I was really concerned that they were going to use it to bury her, and she needs something to balance that out. And yeah, I really think that they're going to win, and I'm really excited about the thought of the tag team titles. But also, if they do it, not only should they have the time on Collision and Dynamite, but Ring of Honor. Unlike WWE, who failed at it so terribly, they need to have the tag titles, but have them go across all the brands.
I agree, 100%. I think they should merge the men's tag titles as well. They should unify the tag titles in ROH and AEW, because honestly, what's the prestige of the ROH tag titles anymore?
Because think about it, it gives an avenue also, because Ring of Honor traditionally and still works with CMLL. They work with New Japan. So that gives, when New Japan needs to send people on excursion, or maybe they want to have them learn a different style, you have the Ring of Honor tag team titles without having to go to the AEW titles, which we all know they have no shot at all of winning whoever it is. So it's kind of like that step in the middle, that bridge. I know there's not a ton of tag teams, and Ring of Honor just lost the Sunshine duo. I cannot remember their names off the top of my head, but they just left. But I think they should still be separate.
Okay, that's an interesting point I hadn't considered. I do agree with you both. I think this match is designed for Penelope to take a pin. so that Megan and her can take a loss against Anna Jay and Harley. Put a feather in their cap without pinning Megan. And still, everybody can kind of look strong that needs to. Penelope is just one of those classic heels that can just eat pins forever and still always kind of feel legitimate. I think that's a testament to her staying power.
Is it just me, or does anybody else want to see a third added to their little duo?
I do. I would love that.
I do too.
I would love that. And Penelope team with them, maybe in a tag team while Megan's in the singles. Like, that could be really cool. I know. This is like, darn it, I wish the bunny was still around.
I know.
But we're moving to the main card, folks. There's a lot to cover. The first match we're going to talk about, I have no idea where on the show it will be, but Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Moné. This is the Owen Hart Cup Finals, Owen Hart Foundation Cup Finals. And I guess for me, what I want to start this off with is they have done a fabulous job of making this tournament feel so much more significant this year. It's felt such a big deal to win this tournament. And I hope they do the same thing with the C2. I think a lot of people assume that they're going to merge the Continental title with the International title at some point this year, probably at All In. And I just want the winner of the C2 to feel like as big a deal as now the Owen Hart winner feels like, because it's literally headlining the show now. But this is a match that really you can see a realistic way for them to go either way. And furthermore, I don't know that there's a bad choice to be made here. Jamie Hayter has been heated up pretty quick since she's been back. But I think it feels justified for her to be where she's at. It hasn't felt unnatural. Yes. She's got the credibility to be at that level. Her versus Mercedes is a dream match. I mean, that's nothing short of a dream match. Two women who have very different styles, but are both extremely talented. And Hayter has really done some great mic work in this feud, which was always my big question about her. Joshi, you remember I was talking about that. What do you think? Who's your prediction for this, Joshi?
Honestly, I don't know. On the one hand, if they decide to go with Mercedes versus Athena at All In, then I would see Jamie Hayter winning. So if Athena intervenes in the match. But on the other hand, I can also see Mercedes winning the match because Mercedes versus Toni Storm is the money-making match. And now is the opportunity to do it. So I'm really torn about this one. Ideally, I think Jamie should win it because Mercedes has to lose the TBS title first, in my opinion. And I do like that she's already dropped one belt and she's on edge about it. And so to see her lose to Jamie, it would just be, it's just an interesting story. I want to continue to see Mercedes kind of unravel and freak out about this. I think the story would be better, actually, if Jamie won. It's just that Mercedes keeps mentioning that she really wants to wrestle Toni Storm. And Toni Storm is a big reason why she signed with AEW. So I am just so conflicted about this one. I said Jamie was going to win from the beginning, but I didn't think Mercedes would advance to the finals. So now things have changed a little bit. It really depends on what they want to do, because the way I see it is if Mercedes does win, you have Toni versus Mercedes. Okay, so that's the TBS champion and the women's world champion facing each other. So what other women's match are they going to do on the show?
Right. So what's your prediction, Joshi? We have to make a call, and
I know.
That was a beautiful soliloquy, but the one part that was missing.
Yeah, you didn't make.
I know. I'm torn on this. I'm going to say Jamie, but I don't feel 100% confident about it.
Antoine, regale us, friend.
I am not going to lie. I am just like Joshi G. I'm like Natalie Imbruglia, and I'm torn.
I'm torn
because I am torn. My heart says
sky is torn. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mercedes dropped the New Japan Strong Women's Championship at the perfect time. She did her job. She was tasked with bringing the limelight to that title and holding it until somebody was ready. And I almost feel like that's the same thing she's doing with the TNT champions, not the TNT, but the TBS championship. And one thing that was always a weakness on the other side for me was for Jamie, whether she could talk really well. And when she was just getting her feet under her, that's when she got hurt. And as we AEW stands can remember, she lost the title to Toni Storm. So it would kind of be like coming full circle. My favorite part has been listening to Hayter literally be her last name, because she has done, with most of her promos, she has taken shots at Mercedes, while Mercedes has not taken shots at her. So I found that to be a little bit different to see the face or someone positioned as the face to be the one that's taking the shots, and the heel actually is not. The marquee match is Mercedes versus Toni. And I like the point Joshi brought up with watching Mercedes kind of unravel a little bit at a time. I don't want to think it's time for her to lose at all. But I'm going to go with Jamie because it is better for the division overall, because not only will Mercedes be on the show, but you're putting the spotlight on Hayter. And she's also doing for the Women's World Championship and the TBS title what she did for the New Japan Strong title. So I'm going to go with Jamie, not because I want to, but because logically, I think that's where they're going to go.
I agree with you both. Actually, listening to you both made my thoughts a lot clearer. So thank you for being my guinea pigs. Basically, I think Jamie is definitely winning. Now that I think about it, one, Joshi, you laid this out at the very beginning, and I still think you were 100% right. The story is with Jamie and Toni. Okay. Toni was brought up by Renee a few weeks ago in an interview, and Jamie goes, I don't even want to talk about that. It was very deftly avoided, and you could tell that's her pain point. But this week in the sit down in the middle of the ring, which, by the way, how many women get in-ring interviews? Not very many.
Not many.
So this was a big
Kudos and
deal.
applause. That's how you use time. If you're not going to put them into the ring, that's how you utilize two of your biggest stars right there.
100%. And so when Jamie said, I think this is the beginning of the kind of downfall of Mercedes, you saw Mercedes is afraid of that too, right?
Of course.
Because her reaction is the first time any of the shit talk has rattled her, right? But you'll also notice that Mercedes has pretty much gotten the upper hand in the physical shit most of the time.
Yeah.
And in the fan reaction, if you haven't noticed.
It's true.
No, it's been kind of interesting.
Yeah,
More people are behind Mercedes.
Well, but here's the thing. So I think Mercedes definitely is going to wrestle Toni. I think it's going to happen. I think she's going to win the world title, but not while she's the TBS champion. And I don't see the sense in that. When you have two big matches you could make feel huge, you go there for your biggest show of the year, right? So I think Jamie Hayter's going to win this one. I think Athena might be involved in the outcomes because the other thing I've noticed is Athena's kind of fallen off the face of the earth since she lost.
Yes.
And that's not her style. So I think Athena's going to come back and pull some big time heel stuff in a bid to turn Mercedes babyface. There has been a baby facing of Mercedes that's been happening. So, so that's where I'm at. We'll see where we land. And we are joined by our final guest of today's show, which is the one and only, the inimitable Joshi. Joshi, welcome to the show. We got J, G, and A all with us now. We were just talking about Mercedes and Jamie Hayter. Who do you got for this one?
Well, hey, Blade, I'm probably gonna have to say Monet. I just don't really see. I don't really see what this. I don't see where she goes with this. I think that you're wanting to position Athena and Monet and Texas, and I think that that's the right decision for this. And I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way if Hayter could get out of this without just taking a straight up L. If there's, I don't know, maybe a shady way this could end that isn't cheesy, that's, pay-per-view worthy, obviously. I think that that's a big thing. You don't want to do something that's, makes people feel cheated at that double or nothing of all events. I think it has to be something that leaves it open for the future. But I don't really see. I don't see the Athena and Monet not happening. You know what I mean? I think this has to happen. I think that's the right thing, the right direction AEW needs to go for the short term. I just hope that Hayter can get out of it as well without, it affecting momentum that, she could, reestablish later this year. Because, it was hard enough that she was out for so long, after being so hot, really quickly last year. So it's a tricky one, but I'm still going to lean on Monet. I think that would be the right decision for AEW in this situation.
If Jamie loses, it's Mercedes Toni at All In. So what does Athena do, right?
Well, I think that there's enough. There's certainly enough talent in AEW right now. They could figure out something to do with her, obviously. But but yeah, I don't know. For me, it's Monet is gonna take this
okay,
weekend.
All right. I like it. We were all haters, so it's nice to have someone who feels differently. That's good.
Wait, one last comment before we move on. Mercedes in AEW, this is the best she's ever been. And honestly, she is the best female wrestler, one of the best wrestlers, period, in that company right now. Like watching her matches, she is on another level. I did watch her match from Collision against Reina, and she was doing the whole luchador thing and pulling all these amazing moves. I just think that this woman is the freaking best. And I think the fans can't help cheering for her now because she is that damn good. You can't boo somebody that talented. Like we were saying earlier, Antoine made a good point. He said, it feels like the crowd's behind Mercedes more than Jamie. And I just think it's because Mercedes has been so freaking consistent.
I also think there's been a subtle shift where you pointed something out, which is that Jamie is often the aggressor verbally with Mercedes. And I think that they are building Mercedes to be the baby face in a feud with Athena. And they're building Jamie Hayter to be the heel in a feud with Toni Storm. And they're laying the groundwork for it right now, is how I feel. I think Jamie could absolutely cheat her ass off to beat Mercedes, or Athena could cost her the match somehow. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But you talk about prestige, folks. We're moving on to one of the most prestigious matches of the night.
Oh, come on. Oh, geez.
That's the Hurt Syndicate versus the fucking Sons of fucking Texas.
Why is this happening? Why is it on the pre-show?
Why?
Nobody
Why
asked
is this match
for this
happening?
match. I don't
Jesus
know.
Christ. I mean, this
I don't know what it's doing here.
This
Seriously.
This
it's
tells
like
me
the person that shows up at the cookout that you didn't invite but found out anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously. They couldn't come up with another.
It could be a 50-50 kind of
They
thing.
couldn't come up with another tag team. And they really, okay, before we make our predictions, and I know we're all going to have the same answer, but they need to rebuild that tag team division. My goodness.
They do.
It's a disaster in Ring of Honor.
I think the part of it is you have the Bucks and FTR out of the picture right now, which is good in a way because they dominated the picture for too long.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you see without them, like kind of how weak things really feel, right? And so,
well, I mean, that could be just the fact that they're trying to maybe get some, I don't know, some of their fringe talent over, I guess. They're kind of just crushing on the tag team division to, get these people on the card and stuff. And it's, you're going to see that a lot, I think, on regular AEW television, like Dynamite and Collision. I think that's going to be commonplace, but I agree. It is not the same tag team division that it was, certainly not when AEW, first got going, and the tag team division was, it was one of the spotlights of the company, and I'd like to see it get back to that. It just seems like right now they're kind of using it as place fillers,
It does.
I guess they don't want to put their pay-per-view, card like on every Dynamite. So the way they're doing that, and they're putting this like the Texas family and stuff on TV. I mean, I think it's just a way to make Dynamite and Collision look a little different than their pay-per-views in the regards. But we'll see. We still got a lot of time left this year, so they may pick up.
It's just that Sammy and Dustin, they're already the ROH tag team champions.
Yeah.
So to just
well, the Lucha Brothers not being there anymore either is really hurt that tag team division. Like
that's true.
Big time.
I just think after being a longtime Sammy Guevara defender and somebody that really still saw potential in him, I'm kind of done with him, to be honest.
Joshi J defend a lot too, actually.
Wow.
The dude is a charisma vacuum. He's got nothing on the mic. Nothing.
Wow. Now that's a hot
take. Listen, he is a guy. I very much disagree. He is a very good shit-eating heel. He is one of the most prime examples of shit-eating heel next to Ethan Page in this industry. I mean, he is a guy you just want to punch in the fucking face because he just looks like such an asshole. He just has asshole aura about him, and I think that it could be if applied properly, he could be an amazing on-screen talent. And I mean, in the early years of AEW, I certainly thought he had more traction than he has now. I don't know what really happened. I can't really place where he fell off, but I don't know, man. I think Sammy's one of those guys, every time, as soon as I heard people were calling him the Miley Cyrus wrestler, I was like, oh, that's it. That's where they need to go with this guy. They need to make him as annoying as Miley Cyrus deliberately. Make him Miley Cyrus, damn it, and make that his freaking whole persona. And he would get the same kind of reaction. Half the people would love him. Everyone else would passionately hate him. There was so much potential there for Sammy Guevara, and I'll defend him to the end. I'm also a little bit biased because we did see him perform live in Toronto one time, but after we took an 8-hour road trip to watch to get to that show. But yeah, when he was way before AEW. But yeah, I'll defend Guevara. I admit he's not the biggest. He's not the he's not a draw yet, but I think he's got the ability to be if AEW really invested in him.
I have got to side with my man here about Sammy. You don't say that. Don't say that about Sammy. He's what, barely 25.
Yeah,
he's got to be older than that. I felt
like this.
Yeah. Okay, maybe 26.
Okay, 26, 27. Okay. We're off by about 700 days or so. But I'm looking at
guys. He's 31 years old.
Okay, well,
He's
I wish I was 31 again.
That's still that's like 21 when my dad was that age. I mean, come on.
Okay, I'm just saying he's 31. He's not 26. Go ahead,
Antoine. Go on.
Okay, so he's 31, so he's not a little kid anymore.
Right.
So he has definitely have to be treated like an adult. Okay. However, he's on a really great, I think he is on a redemption tour. This has been actually good for the tag team titles in Ring of Honor. And even when I've been watching their pay-per-views, the matches that they have, him and Dustin, have been good. Dustin is a good influence on him, so I think it's more like a rehab project. I agree with Jay. I think always you're going to have people who are either going to like Sammy or they're going to fucking passionately hate his ass. Look at his face.
Exactly.
Look at his wife. All the people who are mad look at her. You know, his past with his girlfriend. They're going to take it personal and take it out on somebody like that. But at the same time, they should not be in this damn match with the Hurt Business. I don't know what this crap is doing on the show. I feel like they had way better things to do.
This is a Dynamite match for.
This is
This
is not a pay-per-view match. Mm-hmm.
It pisses me off that I'm paying for it. It's just not a match I want to pay for. I mean, look, it's really the only dim spot on the show for me, and it'll probably be a decent match. But we all know what's going to happen. Okay, Joshi, G. Why don't you get your comments in and then make a prediction, and then we'll go around and we'll just see who thinks Sammy and Dustin are going to win.
Okay. So I'm not interested in this match. Obviously, I don't think the buildup has been particularly great. I don't think it'll be bad or anything like that, but we're now seeing Hurt Syndicate wrestle pretty consistently, and their matches have the same layout where they dominate, they win, and that's it. So I would have actually preferred, and this is not Brian Cage's fault, but if it would have been Lance Archer and Brian Cage, because they're such big dudes, and it's like meat. Like, I feel that would have been a lot more interesting. I just think right now we've seen Hurt Syndicate wrestle talent that's quite smaller than them, and not that Dustin is small, but Sammy is. And we know it's going to be short. They're going to destroy them. So I don't know. Maybe they should look into having them wrestle talent that's a lot bigger and that matches them in the ring, so we could get more hard-hitting matches. Because right now the matches are very repetitive. And I love the Hurt Syndicate. I do. But it's the same thing all the time, right? So
murder, death, kill.
Yeah, AEW has enough big men, they could even wrestle, I don't know, like Will Hobbs and another really big dude,
Joe.
I was going to say like Samoa Joe. As for my prediction, of course, Hurt Syndicate's going to win. I am interested, though, to see what MJF does. And I really do enjoy this whole Hurt Syndicate MJF storyline. I think it's hilarious. MJF is not going to last in Hurt Syndicate. We know that. Not happening.
No, he's not going to last.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen at Double or Nothing. What is MJF going to do? Is he going to irritate them? Is he going to help them? But we definitely will see Hurt Syndicate and MJF divided at some point, and I can't wait to freaking see it. But right now, I'm just laughing my ass off because MJF does not fit in at all. He seems so out of place in that faction, and just
more than one obvious way.
Yes, of course. And hearing him say, "We hurt people," and get all excited, it's like, dude, but no, you have to say it in a threatening way. You're all excited, and and he's always after Bobby. It's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. But of course, it's not going to last. That's the story I'm invested in.
Antoine, who's winning this match?
We all know who's winning this match. It's the Hurt Syndicate. There is nothing. It's just, it is what it is. And I hate that phrase. but at the same time, I'm listening to Joshi G, and I'm just hearing just so much bashing of the wrestlers about what spots they're in. First Sammy and now the Hurt Syndicate. Sounds like they're victims of their own success. And it has exposed AEW's what they've been trying to sweep under the rug and hope you don't see, which is the lack of organization and the lack of true upward trajectory of a lot of their tag teams. They're still too young. Hurt Syndicate all the way. I don't know where they go from here.
Joshi J.
Well, I mean, I think that Hurt Syndicate winning this match certainly is the right thing to happen. I wouldn't sleep on the Sons of Texas in this situation, though, because I think with this kind of a match, I mean, there's a lot of possibility for it to maybe be something kind of like a comedy match. I mean, you look at the rest of the matches on this card, with the exception of maybe Ricochet and Briscoe, the rest of it's pretty serious. I mean, I think that they could do something comical that gets MJF involved, and maybe he comes close. He fucks up and almost costs them the tag team championships against these guys. I mean, I think that could be something that could get this new relationship with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate kind of started, and kind of have it kind of get started on really shaky legs like that. But I think that this is a good chance that this could be more of just like an entertainment type of match. I don't expect anything, Meltzer isn't going to give it freaking 5 stars or whatever. It's going to be, it won't be a long match, but I think it could be entertaining just by what you have here. And I don't think, I think anything Dustin is involved in directly is always, it seems like it's composed very professionally. And so, I wouldn't sleep on this match. I think this one could be good.
Yeah, I think that Hurt Syndicate's going to win. I think this match is probably a lot more about the angle than it is about the match, which is not the greatest for Sons of Texas because they're the tag champs in ROH. So I think they'll probably have a competitive match. Dustin doesn't really get squashed, so I don't see that happening. I think the whole point of the Sons of Texas is for Sammy to eventually turn on Dustin. But I just, going back to my earlier comments about Sammy, I feel he's been given way more chances than just about anyone else I can think of without producing a result. That, like, Darby didn't need all those chances, like he got over. Jack Perry did get a few chances and he got over. MJF has lapped Sammy by miles, as far as getting over. So I just kind of feel like at a certain point with Sammy, you have this stacked roster, like how many times are you going to go back to the well and keep trying with this guy? We'll see. You guys all made very good points and compelling points. We'll just see where it goes. But I think we're all in agreement. Hurt Syndicate retains, and we'll take it from there. And I think it also depends on how quickly they want to move this MJF thing. He's totally betraying the Hurt Syndicate. That thing with the lawyer where he wanted to wash his hands after he dealt with the lawyer, that was telling. I think that was really telling. And so is he going to try and short circuit the Hurt Syndicate from inside before he turns? Or is he...
I think that's a possibility. That crossed my mind.
Or is he going to wait until he has gotten his objective, which he's already stated to all of us, I can be world champ. And once he's got that.
Right.
Look, all I can say about this is I'm just loving MJF. He makes me laugh a lot. Antoine, I'm not saying I want him to remain in that faction, but I mean, it's funny. Like he's being hilarious right now. He's doing something interesting. He's showing that he isn't one dimensional. We had complaints about how he was always bashing women at some point. He's not doing that now. He just wants Bobby's approval, and it's hilarious.
Okay. I'll let you have that.
Mileage may vary on MJF. I think it's MJF's going through a growing pain right now, which is like the universal acclaim for his character is gone. And some people really love him and some people don't. And I think that that's something that will lead to growth for him if he like diversifies what he brings to the table and becomes a better character as a result. I think he will. I think he's very committed to being an all-time great. Again, we have no idea what order these matches will actually take place. This is the match order from Wikipedia. Timeless Toni Storm with Luther defends her world championship against Mina Shirakawa. I'm just going to get my 2 cents in first. Mina Shirakawa has really impressed me in the short time that she's been full-time in AEW. She seems so ready for this spot. It feels like they just got themselves another main eventer. Whether she's completely all the way there at this very moment, she will be very shortly. And this lady has stepped up her in-ring game. I liked the theme music that they made for her that they immediately abandoned. Screw the accordion crap. Like, I really liked that song, actually.
Me too.
I wish they had stuck with it and given it a little time and let the fans like throw their little fit about it, because nobody'd even care by this point. But whatever. So I think Timeless Toni Storm's taking this one because she has to. I think she has to be the champion at All In. She's the marquee is Mercedes and Toni in the women's division, and I think you need Toni on top going into All In. It'll be interesting to see how they get there. I thought Toni cut an amazing promo on Mina on Collision. It's look, these are two of the most entertaining people in AEW, period. And I think
in wrestling,
you're 100% right. And I think Mina and Toni are going to have a match that Mina's going to get really, really close this time. But I think Toni's going to take it. Joshi J, why don't you jump in on this?
Okay, well, no, I think it's definitely going to be Toni Storm taking this. I mean, I don't think it's as much as I think Mina will most definitely win this title eventually. I don't really think she needs it right now. I mean, she's going to be one of these types of talents that isn't going to need a championship to be over the way she's over. That's not true of Toni Storm. And as much as I like her, she is one of these wrestlers that does need a championship. Okay, you can't talk like you're the big shit and everyone should bow and kiss your feet and everything if you never have a belt. Okay, the type of character Toni Storm is, she needs a title, and she needs a title a lot. And for Mina, she's going to have the same level of appeal eventually, whether or not she holds the title for a week or two before dropping it off to someone else. She's more that kind of type of wrestler. So I think this is going to be good enough for her, just already in a title match, her first month in AEW. I think it's a win for Mina either way. But yeah, I completely expect Toni to win this match. I would be stunned if Mina just snagged the championship right away.
Real quick, and then we'll move to Antoine. I thought she looked real good holding that belt up, though, on Dynamite. That belt looks real good in Mina's hands, does it not? Really, really, like, there's just certain people you see with the belt, like Swerve looked the best with that AEW championship around his waist. You know, like that belt looked like it was made for his body. You know what I mean? Mina, same thing. That title belt looked real damn good in her hands. Antoine, who you got?
She has that aura. She reminds me a little bit of how Hiroshi Tanahashi has a set of gear that literally is cut to fit the IWGP World Heavyweight title right around his waist. And it looks to me for Mina the same way. I'm with Jay. I don't care if it's a week. I don't care if it's 2 days. Mm-hmm. I see her more like to use to use an example from the sports entertainment side of things, The Undertaker, 2000s McFoley, Mankind during the Raw era, during the Attitude Era.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she has that type of popularity where she could win it, drop it, win it again. And I really think Toni's on her fourth reign?
Yeah.
She's fantastic. Her character is fantastic. Jay brought up something that I hadn't heard, which is her character is so great, but it kind of could be dependent upon having a title, which they will have to kind of work on. But I think it has to be Toni, because either individual who wins the excellent Owen Hart, that's the match that's the person you're going to want to see them against. Mina's time will come, just not this soon.
Yeah.
Agreed. And probably not at the expense of Toni Storm. I think Mina is probably more likely to win it in maybe a triple threat, a 4-way scramble match or something. I mean, maybe you're on her first time, but I mean, who knows? We'll see. But I definitely think Toni's gonna take it at double or nothing for sure.
Joshi G.
So I have a few comments about this, and some of them you guys actually might not like, but I'm just going to be extremely transparent here. Toni Storm will definitely win, but I think she needs to drop that belt soon at All In. Listen, she's been champion 4 times. She was in a long feud with Mariah May. There were like weeks where she was on both Dynamite and Collision. I like Toni, I do, but you have other women on that roster, and it's starting to become a problem for me. It's a lot of Toni Storm. I like her, but the problem is it's hard to see anybody as a threat now because of the way she's been booked. And you know what? People can hate me on this. The sexual innuendo is funny, but it's excessive at this point. It's like sex all the time, coming, this, that. Okay. I found it funny at first, but now it's like, can you talk about other stuff? I have a little bit of timeless Toni Storm fatigue at the moment. I truly do. And it's just because they have such a stacked women's roster. And I'm not, the other women are just not getting that kind of time. They really aren't. And again, it's like, yes, we know that Mina has huge breasts, but why is that being talked about every time she mentions Mina? And it's already like the thing with the women's division is a lot of these women are getting into this whole like sex, and we're sexy, and that's fine. But I don't want this to become a division that's not taken as seriously. You've got Harley Cameron doing that. You have Toni Storm doing that. Now you have Anna Jay doing that. I mean, Harley Cameron is kissing Anna Jay's ass. I mean, fine. It's funny. But like when you have so many women doing it now, it's not, I can't take it as seriously. They got to cool it off a little bit. Honestly, that's where I'm at. You
don't want it to be like a universal thing where they just assume that of all AEW women, because like you see it in multiple segments where it seems like every women's segment there's some kind of lesbian reference or something like that. And I mean, they must be doing it for a reason. I mean, they must be seeing like. I guess the ratings these segments are getting, much like the E did back in the day when they were very when they went to this well a lot. You know what I'm saying?
The division days.
Well, that's the thing.
But like, I think what they're going for is, let me say this: if you want to get Toni Storm over as this type of perverse character or whatever, she's going to have to go to that well. Constantly, so she develops that type of reputation, and then maybe next year you don't have to go to this well because she's already established that about herself. That's already out there. It's done.
But see, Harley Cameron is doing it too, and now Anna Jay is engaging in that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Mina already shakes her breast. And we
it's
had
not
Mariah.
Toni Storm's thing.
Yes, that was very, and it's like cool. It's like cool. You want to be sexy. I'm totally for it. But the women that they tend to put on TV, in my opinion, recently, are the ones that are leading into the sex thing. And I just don't want AEW's women's division to feel like, oh, well, I'm tuning in for the tits and ass. And, I don't want that. Like, that's why for me, I'm enjoying Mercedes more than Toni recently, because she's leaning on to, I am the best freaking wrestler. I am the Beyonce of wrestling. You could bash me all you want, but I prove my shit in the ring. And that appeals to me more right now. The sex thing is a bit much.
She doesn't have to put everything out there in front of your face like this in order for you to appreciate and also take her talent seriously.
And Mercedes is sexy, and we know that. And she comes out, she's confident, she shakes her body. That's fine. But she's not like, everything is about sex and everything is about my breasts and everything is about my butt. And these people are going to come for this match. It's got to a point where it's all the time and it's not only one person.
I think they're valid points because you don't want this to become a cultural thing. I think that's what you're basically trying to say. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, of course it's valid. Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting perspective. I think I disagree to for my own viewing experience. And it's not because I think hot women should be all over the show. It's more like that's like The Rock is The Rock. And his entire career was made off being lewd and raunchy. And I just think that's become part of Toni's thing. But I also think she doesn't actually flaunt herself that way so much. It's but I know what you're saying. I do think with Harley and Anna Jay and stuff like that, you don't want it to be these breast enhanced women, are the only women getting on TV. You know what I mean? And I completely understand where you're coming from. And
yeah, just like the coming stuff. I don't need to hear that,
Well,
I think your mileage is going to vary on that stuff. And I think that's a fair point. Antoine?
I just want to say that it didn't upset or offend me in any way. Hearing it from a woman's perspective on how that is seen, it's almost like I see it as these ladies are grown women who can do with whatever the hell they want with what they got that everybody already obviously sees. We all see it. If you got half an eye, you'll see it. However, you don't want it to be so dependent upon it that it ends up the women's revolution or whatever you want to label it ends up actually regressing instead of progressing. When Mercedes is over here trying to progress it while still looking fine as anybody, but she focuses on her wrestling.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I just think that is the thing. What's normal discourse for male wrestlers that we just don't even think twice about.
Yep.
I don't think it should necessarily be more or less offensive for Toni or somebody else to be the same way. Toni is pretty overt. You know what I mean? So I get that.
Yes, but men aren't doing that right now. It really is her thing.
I mean, MJF's entire character is
okay, but that's more misogyny. It's not about that's different. Toni is really about talking about people's body parts and lesbianism and people going to come during their matches. It's just I don't like the message there. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, are you okay? And it's all the time. It's not like it's just, once a month, every single time she cuts a promo now. It's about that. And so, yes, The Rock said all those things in the 90s. Yes, but it's a different time now. And it's like you look at the Stardom talent. They're beautiful And we know that, and they flaunt it, but they're also taking wrestling very seriously. Mm-hmm. Like Antoine said.
I will say, and this will be the last thing I'll say about it, is the fact that it doesn't bother me. I do find it funny. And I also do respect and like the fact that on this show, nobody really ever is doing it like that live on national television. And there's different wrestling for everybody. However, I do see what Joshi G is saying, which is you don't want it to be everything, and that's the only reason you're tuning in. Even if it is the only reason you're tuning in, you don't want it to be known as basically the Pornhub of wrestling.
Sure, for sure. And I just want to add, like, Joshi, obviously where you're coming from is completely valid, and I'm not trying to invalidate it. What I'm saying is, like, for me, when I tuned out of WWE in the 2000s was when, like, the Diva Search was like a half hour of Raw. You know, it's like bad. I just don't give a shit about that. That's not why I watch the show. So I agree. I don't want it to regress, as Antoine said. Great points, everybody. This is great conversation to be having about this kind of stuff.
Yes, very good.
I do just want to point out how ironic. Sorry, I played again, running you over. I just wanted to point out before we move on how ironic it is that Anna Jay went over there to Stardom with some of the best wrestlers in the world. And she came back and suddenly her ass is more over than it ever was. I mean, that's just a very interesting thing that I've noticed lately that relates to the subject.
That is interesting. That's a weird bit of irony, I guess.
East versus West.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we have half a card to get through still, so these next few matches, let's just make some predictions and move through it. We got FTR with Stokely versus Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. I'm just going to jump in and say I think FTR wins this. I think Daniel Garcia turns, and I think that this entire thing is a big setup for an evolution of the Daniel Garcia character. I just don't think he's I don't think there's anywhere for him to go with what he's doing right now.
As the cute baby heel.
Yeah, if he like stays where he's at, Daniel Garcia managed by Stokely Hathaway sounds very interesting to me. And I think it's, Daddy Magic is a great commentator, but they've kind of maxed out where his character can go with Danny too. And so just fuck it, just go there. It doesn't have to be, it was the plan all along. It can be a spontaneous turn so that they don't have to like rationalize why Danny's been assaulted and beating up FTR himself and all that stuff. But I think that's my personal prediction and what I'd prefer, honestly. Nigel doesn't need a win. It's been an inspired and interesting matchup, but I don't think that's where that's where FTR needs to stay focused, is on Nigel, who's probably going to be a commentator generally. Joshi G, what do you think?
I think FTR is definitely winning this, and I can see Daniel Garcia turning on Nigel and joining FTR. That's my prediction.
I want to tell you honestly, I had not considered that it could be a setup. I actually had not. I thought that was the best part. If that actually happens, that would be the best outcome for everybody, I really think. And as soon as you said that, it reminded me of something that Cash actually said when he was giving his speech in the show last night, was that, what do you think? Are you actually going to succeed with that guy? And he's pointing at Daddy Magic, right, and he's pointing at Nigel. With a commentator, no, you need to be with real individuals like us.
Right.
And that goes perfectly with it. I think FTR wins, and I hope that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Joshi J?
Oh, I totally think FTR has this in the bag. I mean, there's no question about that. I like Daniel Garcia though, and I think this is they're going to put on a clinic in the ring for sure. But I think like you said, I played. I don't like what does Nigel McGuinness need this for? You know, I mean, I think this is going to be more of a storyline established for Daniel Garcia. But FTR is going to clean up this is going to clean up this bag and take this home. So that's what that's my prediction for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a story driven thing, and I think that that's the primary aim of it. Yeah. We have Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet in a stretcher match, and while we're talking about potential over focus on people's bodies, the AEW audience has grown vastly intolerant of bald people.
I know it's awful.
It's been,
as a member of the ball community, I am offended.
I mean, how could you not be? How could you not be? Ricochet is one of the best heels in the business. He's out MJFing MJF right now in a lot of ways.
In the business.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
he's incredible. He gets nuclear reactions at this point.
Oh, so.
He's been a blast to watch. I like this match. I think it's going to be fun. I think Ricochet is going to take it because he lost to Briscoe on a Dynamite a while back. And I think much as I like Mark, I think that Ricochet is the one with more upward mobility. Mark really doesn't need a push to be over. Like, Mark's kind of the bushwhackers of AEW. Like, he's just, people love him for his personality. I'm not saying as a worker. I'm just saying, like, he doesn't need to be the AEW world champion to be over. No. He's already over.
So he really is a little bushwhacker, ain't he?
that's all I mean. That's all I mean. Antoine, you gasped at when I said that. Please explain.
It is hilarious. The bushwhacker. All I can picture is those hands going up and down and just the limited talent. But gosh, everybody loved them.
Yeah,
I was actually going to say he's just like Penelope Ford, except he's a face. That's it. Yeah, and always pin and nobody's going to give a damn. And we're always going to love him. That's my homie. There was a time where I was not sure about the Briscoes in some of their certain beliefs.
Right.
But
for sure.
That has definitely changed. And absolutely Ricochet is going to win this because he's one of the greatest and he is bald. And I'm going to say he's beautiful. He represents us very well.
Yes. He's a handsome man. He really is. Joshi J, who you got?
I love me some Ricochet, man. I think that everything they're doing with this guy right now, I would be stunned. I would be stunned if Briscoe even cheated him out of a win, anything. I think that you keep going with Ricochet, and I think Briscoe's going to help him get there.
Yeah. I think these two are probably friends, and these guys would have been on the same shows a decade ago. So, like, they know each other well, I'm sure. Joshi G, what do you got?
Definitely my man, Ricochet. There's no way he's losing this match. I like Mark Briscoe, but he doesn't need to win this. Ricochet is one of my favorites. He's been on fire this entire time.
Yeah.
Pleasure to watch. Like Antoine said, I wasn't crazy about the Briscoes for a while, but it looks like, Mark has changed his ways, so he is likable now, but this is Ricochet's time, so he's winning this.
Well, we go from bushwhack into total anarchy, friends, because a match coming up that I don't think is going to be super late in the card because they need to let the crowd come down a little bit. Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, and Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs and Katsuyori Shibata versus Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Marina Shafir, Wheeler Yuta and the Young Bucks. I think that's one too many people. But a lot of people were like, what the hell's going on with Gabe when they announced the participants, which is a fair question to ask. There's no rules in this match. Like, no, there's way more. Like, Pac could come back. You know, who knows what's going to happen? But I think there's going to be a lot more people involved in this than just the announced participants, for sure. And I think Gabe Kidd may play the deciding role in this match. And that's why he wasn't announced as a participant. Joshi G, what do you got?
I think Antoine and I are on the same page about this. I don't mind Gabe Kidd getting involved, but this has been confusing. And if you're not someone that watches NJPW and you're not aware that he wrestled Kenny Omega, I don't know how you follow this. It's like, okay, this guy's helping Moxley. Why isn't he in the match? It is kind of weird. He'll definitely get involved, and that's fine. I'm very happy to see women involved in this match. This is the first time that it's ever happened. As for who the winners will be, you know what? I think there's a really good possibility that Kenny, Swerve, Willow, and the Ops win this match, because I can actually see Eddie Kingston come back and help them out. That's what I'm predicting right now, considering that we know Gabe Kidd is going to help their opponents. This is a great opportunity to bring back Eddie, a really good feel-good moment. Mm-hmm. So that's my prediction. I think they win with Eddie Kingston's help.
Okay. Joshi J?
Well, I definitely think the Kingston prediction is interesting, because that could also set up a return match for NJPW later. And Kingston loves to work in Japan. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's worked with NJPW in the past. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that exact thing happened. Honestly, very good job, Joshi G.
Thank you.
But I've definitely got the Death Riders in this. I think that the Death Riders are. They are this kind of match. I mean, what are even the Death Riders if you're gonna lose a fucking chaos match in the arena? I mean, this is what the Death Riders stand for. This is their game, and I think it makes complete sense for them to win this. It's gonna be a fight. I was not a fan of these types of matches whenever they first started doing them, but they've picked up in the last couple attempts. So I think that the Death Riders are gonna win this, because this is a Death Riders match, man. I'm sorry. You might as well fold the stable if you're going to lose a match like this. I mean, but the Gabe Kidd and Eddie Kingston things, I think that's definitely something to watch out for too.
Gabe broke Eddie's leg in kayfabe, right?
There you go.
And yes. I think that provides some motivation for Eddie. However, Eddie, the Death Riders' basic methodology and philosophy mirrors that of Eddie Kingston. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, what's the outside chance that Eddie joins the Death Riders?
Hell no.
Eddie's a baby.
Eddie is a baby face.
You would have picked the one thing nobody wants to see.
Yeah, he's too freaking likable. I don't see Eddie joining them.
I'm just exploring possibilities, you guys.
I don't want it to happen. I miss Eddie Kingston so freaking much. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he comes back on Sunday. I just don't see him being on the same page as Jon Moxley right now. But hey, of course, you never know. It could happen.
Yeah. Antoine, who you got in this match?
I don't know if I even care. They have done such a great job with this pay-per-view and the build-up and everything. And the one area I will say is this match. They have done such a shit show of a poor job of actually explaining to everybody what's going on. If I did not watch AEW and I came in there and watched this, I would automatically think Gabriel Kidd is going to be in the match. But no,
thank you.
For some reason, he got all these people over here. So now you want to find a way to cram people into the show, into the match that don't necessarily bring anything to it. Even Gabe Kidd himself has come out here and said, I just want to fuck people up. So you can do that anytime. There is no logic. There is no purpose. There is nothing, even if it's a great match. It is such a bad job. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to go with Swerve's team just because I want total. If it's going to be anarchy, then have the result be anarchy and make it all pointless.
Antoine,
Nice.
I do agree about the Gabe thing. It's strange for sure.
I think that the Death Riders are going to win because I think this is the last stand for the Death Riders in the story. This will be the last time they're made to look like strong because Mox is dropping that belt at All In. And the stated purpose of the Death Riders was that AEW had too many big egos and everybody was divided and everybody was in their own circles. And now look at, they've united all the big faces, right? Mm-hmm. And so whether Eddie joins that chaos or not, I think that they, in a way, you can say they've accomplished their goal, right? Which is to unite all these people. I think with big multi-man matches like this, personally for me, I think it very rarely makes sense how they come together. It just rarely does. But in my opinion, I feel like the Death Riders will win. I'm probably wrong. I don't know. Kazuchika Okada versus Speedball Mike Bailey was added to the show. Talk about this is like a match that on any other show would feel like a huge deal. And it just kind of got thrown in there. I like Okada's current thing where he knows you expect him to say bitch, and so he won't. That was pretty funny. I liked because he was starting to get a little repetitive, and I like how he's given 2 promos now where like he's waiting. He knows you're waiting for him to say bitch, so he won't. That was pretty clever and pretty fun. I think Kazuchika Okada is going to win this one. It'll be Speedball's first singles loss, but it's to Okada. And he can look really good taking the loss. Joshi J, what do you think?
Oh, I think that after this match is over, the city of Montreal is going to have another star in front of the old Forum, right next to Celine Dion's star and all the Stanley Cup stars of the Canadians. Those are the 25 best things that ever happened to Montreal was the Stanley Cups and Celine Dion, according to the Montreal's old Forum. So I think after this match, you're going to see May 25th, 2025, Kazuchika Okada versus Speedball Mike Bailey. They're going to stamp that because this is going to be just as an important part of our great city's history. And I'm totally looking forward to seeing Okada turn Speedball Mike Bailey fucking inside out with a Rainmaker. And he's going to really take one for the team. And I'm looking forward to it, brother. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Antoine.
I feel the same way about this match. It just made me happy with such joy and glee to see this match on the card. I don't care if it's just a throwaway, throw in there, nothing else to do. Kazuchika Okada has been one of the more consistent wrestlers when it comes to their pay-per-view matches. That keeps flying under the radar to me. And his reign as Continental Champion continues to fly under the radar to me. And Speedball has come in here and shown anybody who has not seen him how good he really is. But I do think that Kazuchika Okada will finish him off because I believe that he needs to go into later this year as the reigning Continental Champion in the C2.
Joshi G.
Okada's definitely winning this match, but I'm just so happy to see Mike Bailey in a match like this. What a lucky guy. He already got to wrestle Kenny Omega, Ricochet. Now he's wrestling Okada. Mike Bailey is a Montreal treasure, and I'm just so happy that people around the world are getting to see how great he is and that the fans are so receptive to him. He's so deserving. I can tell you he is a very good person. So I know he's going to lose, but but it's really nice to see him wrestle someone like Okada. Obviously, a huge deal. So good for Mike. Seriously,
boy, he's gonna make the Rainmaker look so good, though. Oh man,
yeah. Well, and I
can't wait.
Okada's going to give him a ton. The thing about Mike Bailey that I think concerned me in the beginning is he's the kind of babyface that can lose and lose nothing in doing so, and they haven't done that to him. This will be his first singles loss, I believe, if he does lose. I mean, he technically lost the triple threat, but he wasn't the one pinned. So
it doesn't count.
Yeah, this is like
not at all.
First time you'd see him get pinned. And I think that being to Okada on a pay-per-view says a lot about how they see him. One thing I got to give AEW this year, they haven't brought in anybody that they didn't want to make feel special. And everybody they brought in has gotten a good lift. You know, Josh Alexander, of all people, is really the guy that's taken the most L's upon entry, but I think they have a plan for him. Yes, he has. They have a plan for him, too. And I think that that part of that plan will become evident. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be probably in the tag division for a while while they clear some space for him. But that leads me to the next match, which is Team Paragon, the Paragon with their ugly, hideous blue shirts. Versus the Don Callis family, specifically Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Josh Alexander. Antoine, who you got in this one?
I real time am hesitating on my answer because this is such one of those matches that came together last minute. I don't really know what the entire purpose is. And sometimes you don't need a purpose. Sometimes it's just fun. You get people involved in a pay-per-view who have been sitting on the sidelines and been working hard, like Adam Cole, like the Don Callis family. Josh Alexander, as you pointed out, has been taking a lot of L's. And I think it would be good for the Callis family to get that win in front of a large audience on a pay-per-view like that, particularly, again, because it will help Josh Alexander, I think, the most out of any participant in this match. So I'm going to go with the Callis family.
Joshi G?
I'm going with the Don Callis family. I think that their win could potentially lead to Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher, which is a match that a lot of fans want to see. And yeah, I just think Josh Alexander deserves a really big moment. So Don Callis family all the way.
Canadian supremacy.
Oh, please.
Joshi J.
One Canadian in that match.
Joshi J.
I think that the Callis family, I think they need to stay looking strong for the type of faction that they are and how over Callis is. You got to keep him hot. I'm going with the Callis family, but damn, man, I really want Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. I really want these guys to eventually get some traction later this year. I don't know if the time is now. I think the right thing to do is for the Callis family to keep looking hard, but we'll see. Callis family for me, though.
I'm going Callis family as well, and I think the point of this match is to make things more personal between all the sides, because I think the ultimate goal, and it's just the vibe I got, it's not really rational, but the vibe I got is that they want to move toward a Kyle Fletcher Adam Cole match and for the TNT title and maybe have them feud. I can see Kyle taking it from Adam Cole, to be honest with you. I can see Kyle as the world champion soon. I mean, the guy's that far ahead of where I expected him to be.
I could see Kyle in a 1980s retro cover band.
Yeah. So you're really digging his attire then.
Oh yeah, man.
All right. So last but not least, our main event, the announced main event for this show is Hangman Adam Page and William Billy Goat Crispy Bill Will Ospreay. The Aerial Assassin versus the Hangman. I am very excited about this match. This is a dream match. I I'm not sure if it's a first time ever match, but certainly the first time in America that this has happened. The winner goes on to face Jon Moxley at All In. I will say right off the top that it was smart of them not to put Moxley in a world title defense on this show, because I don't think anybody would have bought that. Like, everybody would have felt like Moxley had to hold on to the title. So better to have him in the big multi-man match than wasting everybody's money in a match everybody knew he would win. So I think there's that. I think the winner of this match could go either way. I don't think you lose either way. I can see the virtues in Hangman winning, which is probably slightly my preference, because I love Hangman. I just love Hangman. That the promo battle between those two. Look, I'm not one for 20-minute segments talking generally, but that was one of the better promo exchanges I can remember hearing in a very long time. It felt so real between the two of them.
So invested.
I mean, Ospreay's incredible. Like, he went from being like a guy who could barely cut a fucking promo to like, he's one of the best promos in the business now. But I think if Hangman were to lose, I could also see where him and Swerve finally come together and they take out the Bucks together. And they do the Bucks at All In. That's what I could see happening. But I could also see Hangman being the one to take down Jon Moxley because he's the main character of AEW. So I can see it going either way, but we're all making predictions here. I'm going to predict Will Ospreay takes this match. Not my preference, but it's what I believe will happen. Let's see. Antoine.
To start, both this match, and I wanted to mention it earlier, between Monet and Hayter is so full of respect to Owen Hart. I love seeing Owen's wife every year when she comes out. I love seeing the fan support, and also the way that they've actually taken this pretty damn seriously. I think that should be said off the top. However, this match is so wide open, and I love it. I love the fact that it's wide open.
Yeah.
My favorite line in the entire excellent exchange that was over 20 minutes and actually worth every second.
Yeah.
Was when Ospreay said to Hangman, "This is about your redemption. No, this is about my ascension." And if Hangman is, quote unquote, the main character of the story, even though he burned my brother's house down, he's got to go through some more shit before he can get back to the top and atone for what he did. So I think that's where they're going to kind of lean. And I do think this is about Will Ospreay's ascension. I was actually thinking about when Hangman and Will were in New Japan, and when Hangman was a part of Bullet Club, I cannot remember them ever wrestling each other, not even in a multi-man match. Or one of those 8-man matches that they put on a lot. So as far as I know, this is the first time they've ever wrestled, and I am truly excited for it. I honestly don't care who wins because it's going to be that good. But I think for the long-term storytelling and where they should go, Will Ospreay will win.
Joshi G.
I'm going with Will Ospreay for sure. I think he's winning this. Forbidden Door is in London. Is going to be champion for sure. My preference is Hangman Adam Page because I do really like his redemption angle, and I think that his last title reign wasn't as great as it could have been, and I do think he deserves a second chance and a much better reign as champion. But I feel right now they're going with Will, and that's fine. Will's doing an excellent job. They both cut excellent promos on Dynamite, and I just think obviously it's a match that a lot of people want to see. It's one of my dream matches, so I'm very excited for it.
Joshi J.
Well, I mean, I think that since we've seen Hangman and Jon Moxley back and forth, I think that this being a new year and everything, it would make more sense for AEW to kind of go with a new match for their, big ticket event coming up. And I think that Ospreay winning opens up an interesting possibility with Hangman where he could just descend into, darkness and become, as this heel that's just or anti-hero to the extreme. It's like, taking these big time match these L's and not really retaking the throne the way he did. I think this could set up something interesting long term you could drag out with Hangman. And I think Ospreay, whether or not he's successful or not with the championship later, I just think that the match that this sets up between Moxley and Ospreay, I think it's a lot more interesting on paper because you have this death match Savant and Moxley versus this aerial assassin and Ospreay. You have so many. You have a really sexy looking match on paper there, something that could look really wild before you even start to see the angle develop over the next month after the match has already been announced. I think that's certainly more intriguing with Ospreay, but Hangman is the man, and if he wins this match, I even if we do have to endure another Moxley Hangman death match, I mean, listen, those two men are the crutch of AEW. They have been for a while now, and I'll support it. But my God, Will Ospreay, man, Will Ospreay and Moxley could have a match to remember, and I think that would be in the better interest of AEW this time around. For sure.
You also said something really telling. Words matter to me, and the fact that Moxley and Hangman are AEW's crutch. That can be seen in two different ways. Crutch is in, yes, they are always reliable go-to, but crutch is in you're leaning on them far too much. And I think that maybe that is happening, particularly with Moxley. It kind of reminds me of when Moxley and Adam Copeland were wrestling and how intriguing it was. But in reality, when it happened, it was okay. The match they did on the Dynamite after the pay-per-view, to me, was actually better.
Oh, it was.
So, yeah. So I'm going for the interest and the sake of interest. It should be Will.
I think that what's awesome about this match is it, to me, reminds me of the first WrestleMania that I was a fan when it happened. Mm-hmm. Instead of just reading about previous ones, was WrestleMania 6. Hogan and Warrior. And you really didn't know who was going to win that match. And you could see it going either way. And I think they've done a beautiful job of setting that up. But what I've always admired about Adam Page is he's really more about story than being seen as the best. And he's about character evolution. And so is Swerve Strickland. And I think until they settle their shit with each other, both of them are in this purgatory together. And that's kind of the overarching vibe. So if they end up teaming up to take down the Bucks at All In, while Ospreay dismantles Jon Moxley, and I love what Ospreay said, I've faced Jon twice, he beat me both times, but you've beat him, and if I can beat you, I know I can beat him. Really worked for me, brother. Really, really did work for me.
Like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we've talked way more about AEW Double or Nothing than I expected we would. So we will get to a Best of the Super Juniors review next week. But for now, I think we're just going to see what the hell happens at the show, guys. But I want to thank Antoine Raphael, and I want to thank Joshi J, and I want to thank Joshi G. I'm Blade Daly.
I'm Joshi G.
I'm Joshi J.
And I'm Antoine Raphael.
Pro wrestling forever. Get the hell out of here, Jack Perry!